Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order at this point in time. And thank you all for coming out on this wonderful non-rainy day. I've been very impressed in the last week that it's rained every day. And that's made my skin look a lot more supple and me a lot more youthful, right? Okay. First off, again, is that this is the annual AGM, and as you know, we are in the process of doing a internet broadcast for the same for the other members that can't be here. Plus the fact that it's important that we do have a opportunity at the transparency so that everybody gets to see that yes, we had an AGM and all of the things are here. On the next thing on our list that I'd like to deal with at this point in time is go through the president's table at this point in time, starting at the left. We'll get everybody to introduce themselves, please.
Corey Philpott, all of the zones coordinator.
Jeff Elon, President, Lower Mainland Football Referee Association.
Lisa Warner, Nine Coordinator.
Caleb Park, President of the NFL.
And Valder Belgrave isn't here today. He is ill, and he's the vice president of BCCFA. And for those who don't know me, I'm Joe Gluska, and the president of BCCFA.
Also visiting is Jeff Colton, SIFC President.
Thank you. Okay, now this morning we were to have a few guests in here. We do have our sponsors, representatives from Skyline Athletics, which are over here. And if you get an opportunity during the break, you may like to go over there and see all of the things that they have for us. Also, what's supposed to happen is Jamie Terrace said he was going to be here to talk a little bit about this morning about our relationship with them and some of the things that they're doing. We have a couple of guests that are with us this morning as well, Frank Nazo and Jerry Friesen that are over there, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later. The next thing I'd like to do is I've jumped down a little bit and I'll go back to the voting procedure. Lisa?
Based on the BCCFA's current constitution as filed with the Company of Registrars, if we need to do a vote today, our voting procedure be as follows. There are no proxy votes. There is one vote per city league. If there is more than one person present from your city league, like I see two of you guys from Longhorns here, one of you can speak, one of you can vote. So that also cuts down on excess chatter, everything else. One speaker, one voter per city league, and that's mandated by our Constitution.
Thank you. Next on our list is that the championship sponsors, again, I always like to talk about the two groups that we have. Actually, we have a number of other groups as well that have come on board. First and foremost is Skyline Athletics, and as you know, they're responsible and they donate to us the championship t-shirts and the footballs with our relationship with Russell Athletics. Russell, of course, does the sponsorship for Flag and allows the BCCFA an opportunity to generate some revenue so that we can pay the bills at the championship for medals and for the referee costs, etc., that are there as well. Baron Rings, just to refresh your memory, and I know I mentioned this briefly last week, is that they give us 2 MVP rings for each of the levels except for Adam and Pee Wee 9-man, which we've now moved into dog tags for all of the kids on the winning team and MVP dog tags as well. So that's what they have sponsored us for. The Sandman Inn and Hotel sponsors us as well, not only with the rates that they give you, they do give us a little bit of seed money as well in order for us to, again, use it for the championship and the flag that's there. That's why we encourage you to use the hotel that's up there. Now, ultimately, at that time, that's covered off all of those things. And again, if the gentlemen come in with Sean or Jamie come in, I'll just stop at that point and them speak. So I know Jamie's quite busy and he was asking about the time. Now, number 5 is the minutes from the any adjustments, any concerns. That will be done at this point in time. Now, while you're briefly looking at those, we do have the minutes online on our website with regards to that. They're also in their package in here, so that we try to make sure that individuals that want to see or whether the information was talked about and what the meetings were, they were there. And again, we want to make sure that we're open and transparent with regards to a number of things. And it's the encouragement of individuals like yourselves to make sure that you're involved in order to keep us in that process of being open and transparent. And if there are no concerns and no questions, I'd like a motion to approve the minutes from the 2015 agenda. Seconder, please. Is there any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Unanimous. Okay, now we go through the reports. My report is on page 33. Now, the big focus of 2015 is that, as I've explained to a number of people, that crisis position. And the crisis is that we're facing an opportunity to either do the same things over and over with no better results than we've had, or change and move forward, cross the river. And as a result of that, BC CFA felt in order to justify our members and the resources that they give to the former PSO, is that we couldn't belong to them anymore. And this wasn't an issue of yesterday or last week. For the last 4 years, I've been asking for a meeting, for financial statements, for a variety of things from Football BC, and they kept the football partners in isolation. And as a result of that, they could play one off against the other. And then over the last year, I was in contact more with junior football and the referees and found that they were getting the same information. And as a result of that, legally, what we did was we took the Constitution, we went through a lawyer, we petitioned for a meeting from Football BC in order to examine the financials and in order to examine what were the that they were responsible for, but that the directors had agreed to. And ultimately, at that point in time, that caused a fair amount of friction because the Football BC executive was phoning the members, and remember, they were basically the paying members of the football community were BC Community Football, the largest group, BC Junior Football, the Referees Association, high school football, and both universities. But Simon Fraser, because they were NCC2P had dropped out of the NCC2A, excuse me, they dropped out of the association because they said they weren't to be involved. And the executive phoned up the other members to tell them not to go to the meeting in order for us not to have a quorum. And my question became, why is the executive director and the person who wasn't elected president asking to sabotage a meeting that the members, I thought, were supposed to see with regards to financials and other things? They did call a meeting in October of last year. Going to the meeting, the financials were incomplete, and they tried to start the meeting with directors who didn't have a vote. Because according to the Constitution, the only people that get to vote at the Football BC one were the paying members, which was listed in the Constitution. BCCFA is one of those. As a result, we elected a new president and a new treasurer. They immediately turned around and sued. And of course, I thought this was quite interesting. Volunteers suing volunteers to be volunteers. Why became the question. At that meeting, we were able to postpone the financials until December, which happened to be the championship day. And they were supposed to bring the financials. They had the accountant there, etc. He said at the meeting, basically, he didn't have enough information to validate the financials. At that point in time, I said, and I had talked to the presidents, that it doesn't do us any good to stay here and keep repeating the same bad decision over and over again. Two things were brought to mind. Last year, they charged us basically, they were charging us $17 for membership. It was going to 20 with 5,000 students. That was $100,000 that we were supposed to give them. They were moving our insurance fee to $25, which would have been $25,000 that we were supposed to give them. We were supposed to give them over $250,000. And they had predicted at that point in time, BCCFA and through the presidents up here were able to get an insurance policy that in my mind was better, and it hinged on one factor, is that this is the way it was explained to me. Before, if you had somebody who was injured, they had to foot the fee of the ambulance. I asked that question for the person, he said, nope, you're covered. If he said it goes, if you have to go, a 50K or 100K or 150K to the hospital, we're paying the whole shot. Well, that was better than the policy we had before. It also dealt with the coaches. Coaches, trainers, stick crew, anybody that's on the field, they are covered by our insurance policy. So if something happens to them, they're covered. And that's all within the policy because that's included in the $10 that the athletes are paying. That's all in the umbrella policy, which in my mind, again, is going to help out every single association because of a larger blanket policy. Now,
we also, just so some of the clubs are aware, we also just got, so some of the clubs are aware with your insurance. Previously, you paid per adult and per player, and it was two different fees. Now, there is one fee, and it covers all of the players. It covers all of the adults, like Joe said, coaches, trainers. It also covers your parent volunteers now. Before, it did not cover your parent volunteers as stick crews. Now it does. We also just got extension last month, I believe, that it also covers your concession stands that are owned by the clubs. So if your club owns a concession stand, the liability within that concession stand is now covered.
Okay, the one thing that we will look. Okay, now,
It also covers you guys travel. So wherever you guys travel to, dealing with football, you're covered. Everybody, whether your bus or anything that goes, everybody's covered on the travel. So wherever you got to go. So from the island to wherever, it's covered.
so as an
Cover parents for that kid to go into a game, that's part of it, yeah.
Thank you. The part of the policy was, of course, they were boosting it to $25, and what happened was that in some of the paperwork that I was received, inadvertently, the cost of the insurance was there. The whole policy for Football BC last year was $57,000. We were going to pay double for the whole policy, and I'm going, that's a problem. For me, it was a problem, and as a result of that, I said financially for our members, that's just absolutely not right. So off the top, each individual saved $15 on insurance alone, and again, the cost of the Football BBC membership has dropped, of course, to zero, but we will have a new PSO, which we'll be talking about a little bit later, and the direct result is we've already dealt with the fees that we'll be looking at for them for the time being. Now, so that takes care of that aspect. The other aspect I want to point out is that Football BC had a person that said that they were president, but in 20 months, they never had an election to confirm that statement. And I saw that person numerous times. And I said, well, when are you going to hold an election? When are you going to have a meeting so that we can, oh, it'll be soon, it'll be soon. Well, almost 2 years passed, and the direct result, it never happened. And when it did happen, the membership decided he wasn't the person. So anyway, the court suit's been basically settled. The individuals that took us to court are no longer on the Football BC board. They have somebody that's new. But just to let you know, the only member that's current with the old Football BC group is high school. They haven't submitted their formal withdrawal. Everybody else has. And as a result of that, they have no members. So again, the issue is,
Yet high school hasn't forwarded their dues for this year, they're wobbling.
yeah, they haven't paid them, and they said that they won't pay them right now. I can tell you this, that to my knowledge, that the last time I spoke with people that were looking at their books, Football BC owed $180,000. And that became a big issue. They had 3 people working in their office that were making over $60,000 a year. And those are the types of things that obviously dealt with. And again, all people in your club had people that were signing up for various events, and they all paid up front. I don't understand how they got from getting the cash in here, not to paying bills. And I've been contacted by 3 groups who they owe money to. And I said, unfortunately, you're going to have to deal with them. It has nothing to do with us. The Football Canada issue, of course, has to deal with us. And in the process, we've been asking Football Canada to give us a list of all the community coaches that were supposed to have been certified, because Football Canada has not been paid. The coaching courses were conducted. You as the members paid the money to have those coaches certified. They had not paid Football Canada. So we have a pool of coaches out there who've completed the courses, but the money hasn't been paid to Football Canada, so Football Canada's not processing it. So we're in the process now to deal with Football Canada to give us a list to see how we will be able to mitigate that issue so that our coaches will be obviously in the situation where they've got the proper certification. This is the second year. I got to shift gears in here because there's a couple other things. Second year for online registration for FLAG. FLAG, and I'm just going to talk briefly about it and more of a bigger, broader perspective, is that FLAG is going to be the savior of football in the province. And regardless, I keep telling people, I said, regardless of what we think, society's changing. And on a global aspect, it's changing with regards to football. FLAG, and I can know one club, and again, I've seen it happen with several clubs. One club could hardly field enough kids to run 2 tackle teams at 2 different age groups. And now they registered over 300 kids for FLAG. So that's a positive dynamic and a positive growth. And anecdotally, I can tell you, when I go to a field to watch kids, I can pick out the kids that play FLAG right away. They have, their skill level is high, they catch the ball, they run, they're having fun because they understand a lot more about the game. The other kids are catching up, but not necessarily as fast. So FLAG's a very positive thing. And just to let you know, the NFL, as an example, they put $40 million into FLAG. Yes, I wrote them a letter and asked for a piece of the pie. Hey, can you write me a check? And after talking to a couple of people at the elite level of football, is that we're farther ahead in British Columbia than they are. And I've talked to 2 people in association with the NFL, CFL, and our FLAG tournament is way superior in the sense of the numbers of kids that are playing and the tournament and its condensing than anybody else in North America. And I've said this several times, and I've also pointed this out, is that's the largest single football event in North America. Because last year we had 1,558 kids in one sporting event on one weekend. The only one that could top that could be like, the Canada Summer Games, but there's multiple sports. Remember, we're running one sport. None of the other groups bring in every single age group from U10 to U16 at one day. So FLAG, to your benefit and to the hard work, is outstanding and is vibrant. And it's very important to football and its success as we go forward. And we will see the returns going forward. Because again, the dynamic is shifting in North America, and we want to be, making sure that we are ahead of the curve rather than trying to play catch up. The last couple things that I want to talk about briefly again is the 12-man championship. 12-man is going incredibly well. We like hosting it at Langley. It's an event, and don't forget, I just want to remind everybody that CCFA was the cornerstone group in order to get the big screen into the Langley Stadium for the benefit of our members. Sometimes some people have lost the issue that we went to the table, we said we'd put part of our funding towards that so that it could be secured. And all of a sudden the dynamic changed. We became the partner, and other groups are there as minor partners, but that's to the benefit of all of our members. And as a result of that, that venue, I believe, is one of the best venues in all of British Columbia to host the championship, and the 12-man works out incredibly well there. The 9-man, of course, as you know, is run in Kamloops at the Hillside Stadium there, and again, it's growing constantly in numbers, and again, it's a tremendous success for us as well. And so that moves us down to the last little bit, is that the future. And this is an incredibly important thing that we have to look at, because not only is the future of BCCFA going to change, is that the future of each of your associations is going to change, because everybody knows that in 2017 we all have to have our new constitutions done, new Society Act, new things. We're all going to be dealing with that. I think it's important that we also take a bit of time to look at that, is that just like the BCCFA is succession. Who's going to be the next person to be in charge of your organization? Just like who's going to be the next person to be in charge of this organization. Elections are next year. Okay? And
it's important because I believe that we have to groom people to take the position, and we have to look at that. So we have to say, you know, it's tough to get the great volunteers. And I go to the various meetings, and I see the great volunteers, and I go, man, how are we going to replace that volunteer? What happens, you know, down the road, if they're not going to be here in 2 or 3 years, how are we going to get somebody as good to take their spot? And that becomes the process. And just in case you haven't noticed, you know, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I know I look really good for my age, but, okay? And this is one of the positive things that I keep saying is that we have to start to cultivate this. And as you can see, when I started with the board, you know, we had 4 members, no money, and, you know, I try to encourage as many people as possible to get involved because it makes it easy. You know, Doug Pauls, and I will talk about him in, do I talk about him now or later? Later, thanks you. Okay, as you know, he's removed. In order to replace him, you couldn't find a single person that would take on that job. It was so big. And they go, oh, wow, I could do this part, this part, this part. So as a result of that, it's easy to find 4 or 5 people to do little parts of the job. But you got to go out and recruit them. You got to cultivate them, and I think that's important, and that's what we have to do. How do we get succession? How do we get diversity? How do we get a number of things with our group? And I think that's coming down the line because volunteering is tough. And I know that because everybody knows that as soon as they see me coming, they know they're in for being a volunteer for at least 10 years. I'll never let them go. Okay, I had Doug for 8 years. He came up, he said one word, I said, you're it. You're my guy. Pardon? I know. Okay, so ultimately that becomes the process. I think that's important that we look at that. So when you're dealing with your associations and you're sitting down and you're looking at your new concept, how are you going to ensure succession? Where does it come? And I think that's important for everybody. Because in order to move forward, and as I said, it's tough to and that's a very important part of our job as we go forward, because once your kids aren't involved, like mine, you know, and we sit there and we put in, and it's a hobby and it's enjoyable and we like to do all of these things, but eventually there's going to be a point in time where you're saying, okay, I think we need to move on. And that becomes the process. So as the president, I'd like to say that was my report. I know I deviated a little bit. And as a result of that, I don't believe you have to vote on acceptance. I just say that's my report and we can move on. And the next person up is the island president.
Oh, lovely. I'm Cindy. I'm from the island. My report's in your booklet. It's just pretty much we've had growth on the island. We're still opening up the communication lines between the fracture between South Island and North Island, but communications have started. So we look forward to hopefully repairing island football. And I'd also like to take the opportunity to thank the VFML for letting the Greater Victoria Minor Football Junior Bantam Renegades play this last fall season, because the previous year they had no place to play. So I'd like to thank them on behalf of Greater Victoria and the island. And I'm done. I don't know who's next.
BMFL.
PMFL.
Okay, so as most of you, I was just elected 8 days ago now. So Balder obviously wrote this report here, and he's not here to read it today. So what I did is I just outlined a couple of things here. So first of all, I want to personally thank Balder for all the work he's done at the VMFL level. And he's going to stick around on the board, just so everyone knows. So that helps me out a lot. Thank God for that one. So just a couple of things here that he wrote. He just wanted to thank some of the people who are not on there anymore, like Mel and Shane, excuse me, and Doug Pauls, who obviously I'm going to miss personally too because of all the spring flag I did with him. The league, I'll just read this out. The league was also fortunate to add me this year as the spring guy. Also Gordon Francis, Paul Lancaster, and Jane, who also came back, and Mr. Connolly as well. He's a Mr. Connolly to me. The Star Bowl this year was hosted by the VCFL at Exhibition Park, Chilliwack. Gordon Francis took that on and did a great job with it. I was out for most of that last year, and he really took it on, and he really did a good job. I was happy with that. And special thanks to North Delta for letting us have the practice fields for that. Spring Flag, as it says here, under the leadership of Doug, which I just followed him around and learned lots from last year. We had over 1,200 participants, 223 teams, up from 104. That was a lot of extra kids last year. We did the 5 weekends, as everyone knows, with the U19s being hosted in Burnaby, which was a lot of fun. Burnaby did a really good job at the U19 provincials last year. So also one thing that I highlighted here because I was happy, pleased to welcome return of teams Victoria and White Rock in the midget tackle division. I was also a parent in that division, and both teams did really well this year, so I was quite pleased with that. I'm not going to talk about all those things that he wrote in there. There's just a lot, and it's a lot of him. He wants to thank also cheerleading. That was another big thing that Tony stepped up again this year. And I went to the year-end cheerleading thing. Other than it being very, very loud, it was a good success. One thing I do want to say is the new executive for the VMFL, I'm really happy to have all those people stand with me. First year here, it's going to take a lot to get the ball rolling, and I'm going to need all the help I can get. So I'm very happy to have all of them on. And that's about all I got to say. The rest you guys can read in here that Valder put in. Okay.
VCFL.
Hi, guys. So I'm Shal Sangera, the president of the VCFL. I just want to bring one thing up. We have Wayne Bjorgi here. He's also on the BCCFA board as our Valley Zone rep. So we didn't mention him earlier, but he is my right-hand man, and we work together. So this past year was great for us. Middle Row is my executive, and they're fantastic people, so I'm very thankful for who they are. And we've got big ideas at the VCFL, and without the team of people that we have in place, we couldn't do the big things that we do at the VCFL. We started last year with Star Bowl. We hosted the VMFL Star Bowl in Chilliwack and the VCFL Star Bowl, and both games were online, both great days, a lot of fun. Then we went into the season, and it's all in the report, but, you know, to highlight, we did get the Adam 9-man provincial and with the Knights, and the JB with the Niners, so we're really excited about that and happy for them. Basically, what we did together at the executive level was we got together and did an NFL athletics raffle, and between all of us, we had $20,000, and we split that up. So that was really cool, and I think we're going to be doing it better first run. So it was a new thing, but you know, I'm looking forward to the new season and trying it again. Other than that, we're doing good. All the lower levels are very healthy. We like to. A little bit of my report I noticed was the last paragraph was cut off, but it's here. But thanks, Kayla, sabotaging me. But I wanted to say thank you to the VMFL, to everybody, for everybody in the VMFL. You guys, we're really happy that we're involved with you guys with integration for Bantam, whether it be 9-man, 12-man, or midget. We're really, really trying hard to field teams, and the 9-man stuff has been really good. We've seen great positive results for 9-man. In our organizations and more registration, leading to 12-man teams, so we're really excited about that. To the LMFRA, The refs are great. We really enjoy them coming out, so big thank you there. And also to the BCCFA. I mean, I'm here on the calls. I hear what's going on. Joe Gluska, I just want to say thank you. It's a thankless job, and I don't think anybody really knows what it's like to be you. So the VCFL and myself, we really, really appreciate everything you do for us and sticking your neck out there for us. So thank you. And other than that, it's a good season. And it was a good season. It's going to be a great season. We're really excited. And we look forward to playing you guys. VMFL, we just need to work on a contract and get integrated again. But thank you very much. Okay, who's next?
Yes, I'm just going to mention two things. I'd just like to thank Ed Huber for working with us. He stepped down off the board. He is from Vernon. He was our treasurer before Don became treasurer. And he did a tremendous amount of work and was a rep for a while.
We have a new vice president of the VCFL. I didn't have one last year, so Raskin is giving a big wave. I have help, so thank you.
So as far as the Southern Interior Football Conference goes, you guys can read the report, yay. The couple of highlights is we only have 4 cities within our zone. We're real big. But a team from every city was able to go to provincials this year, which was really cool for us. Kamloops was at the 9-man Atom. Kelowna was at 9-man Pee-wee, Vernon was at 9-man Junior Bantam, and the Salmon Arm was able to participate in the 9-man Bantam that happened down here in Langley during 12-man Day. So that was a big boost for us. 2 really bad things happened this year. We lost Ed. He disappeared, got busy. Well, he didn't disappear. He just got really busy with life and moved on to his business, and his kid now plays at high school, which is great. But I still text him on a regular basis and harass him because I can. The other kind of tragic thing that happened, and this is sort of a reminder for you guys as well, one of our clubs had an ex-board member who had a key to their storage area. They lost 95 helmets, 120 shoulder pads, and all of their field equipment, practice equipment was destroyed. Sliced open and destroyed. That club right now is on the verge of closing because they don't have the funds to move forward. I guess what I could ask from you guys, from your level, we just actually have a new SIS elected in this week, Jeff Colton from Kelowna. If you hear of anything or see anything, Kijiji, Craigslist, whatever, of somebody in the interior trying to sell stuff, please let we're doing what we can for this club within the interior, but it's a lot of money and a lot of equipment. So that really...
Now, if anybody has any equipment that they may be getting rid of and are willing to donate it, I will make a presentation to the BCCFA board that will pay for the shipping, so it doesn't cost you anything to get to there, so we can help them out. Okay, so ultimately, if you say, okay, this is what we got, and you have a shipper that's going to pick that up, and you just say, okay, this is our bill for shipping, you send it to the BCCFA, and we'll take care of the bill. So I think that would be a thing in the past, and we need to move forward on this. Okay, our next... Yeah. Thank you. Is the North President?
So I'm Don Williams from Prince George, from the North Zone. My report's in the book, some brief highlights. So we try to run an indoor flag camps. We did that again this year, or last year. We'll be doing it again this year. This year, some of the BC Lions will be coming up, so that's always good. Spring Flag continues to be a success. Like Joe had said earlier, it's a huge impact on our fall tackle season because those players can start football without the tackle part, and then they can continue on. A lot of them continue on with tackle. We continue to send our teams down to flag provincials, and that's fantastic. Fall tackle, again, it was healthy in all the age groups. We only run up to junior bantam in the north. Once the kids get older, they play high school football. But the younger age groups, everything was good. We had our Pee Wee team actually win the 9-man championships in an exciting shootout finish. So now everyone is very positive on the shootout format that we have in the 9-man. So everything looks really good for 2016. One thing that's pretty exciting is the Zone Bowl. A lot of the kids, we just finished our tryouts, and a lot of the kids are really excited for that.
Hey, Jeff the ref. Okay, I'm going into my 10th year in a row as president.
Oh, we're still not leaving.
Oh my God! Like, I'm the only one stupid enough to stay around that long, I guess. Anyways, yeah, last year was a good year for us as well too, as far as growing a little bit again. We had 10 people show up for our level 1 clinic, which was nice. A little mix of adults and kids in there. We also held a joint clinic with the CIS and junior guys, so that some of our younger officials could. It was a good learning environment for them to see how the higher levels of officials prepare for games and everything. So that was a good learning experience for them. There will be a new rule book coming out this year, getting away from the printed ones. So, but there will be an online version. I don't know anything yet about any rule changes. We haven't been informed. We have a national conference in Saskatoon this year. Woohoo! So I'll be going to that, and we should find out any new rule changes by that time, anyways. So, and we'll pass them on as soon as possible. I did put something in here too about numbering. There were some. I don't know why we always run into this numbering issue problems. 40s, 50s, 60s, lineman numbers, 5 linemen, 30 possible jerseys. Do the math. It's real simple.
They changed it this
Oh yeah, 50, 60, 70. Sorry. I went. Now I know. Now I'm confused too. 50, 60, 70s. I'll blame it on getting old. Oh God. 50, 60. Yeah, 50, 60, 70s. Still the same thing. 30 jerseys, 5 linemen. Do the math. There is in the CFL they have a rule where if you have guys that are reporting in, they have to. Their numbers, names and numbers are provided before the game, and they're the only guys that can play out of position then. So there is talk about having that come into amateur football. I don't know if it's in the plans for this year. Somehow I doubt it, but I think they're going to be putting it into CIS this year, and then it'll work its way down eventually. So it's just something to think about for the next few years coming. Other than that, I guess we've had our relationship with BCCFA for about 9 years, 8-9 years now, and I just love being a part of this organization, and the people here really care about the sport and want to see it grow, and it's nice to be a part of that. And we are, my members and everything too, we're 100% behind what this group is trying to do for football in the province. I don't know if anybody has any questions for me.
No.
I hope not.
As far as 9-men went last year, it went well. Doing the round robin games with the shootout and then the full games after at the 9-man championships turns into a 14 to 16 hour day for me on a field in November in Kamloops. It's cold. So that being said, if you look sort of at number 14, we have tentatively scheduled the championship for 2016 as a 2-day event. Depending on your zone declarations as to who will be coming to the 9-man provincial championships in regards to which teams from which zones, I can then mussy up a schedule from there and look at spreading it over 2 days. Again, that way it's not a 16-hour day on a -10 field in the middle of winter in Kamloops. Other than that, life is good in the 9-man front. I hope to see more numbers in 9-man. I know there's talk of 9-man midget, which would be super exciting. Being able to watch that progression up from Adam right up to midget in the 9-man field, the speed of the game, the hits of the game, it would be pretty amazing to see. That's it for 9-man.
Corey and I were in shorts that day, by the way, and we were suntanning in Kamloops. It wasn't that cold. Okay, being more insulated, I didn't really feel it. But I will tell you one thing, the most exciting event that happens tends to circle around the shootout. And it's not necessarily for the coaches, because I look at them and they're a different group, but the kids are so pumped that they get to continue on. And of course, a lot of them never played in a shootout. But over the last couple of years that we've run it, the teams don't leave, they're on the sideline, and even if they get knocked out, they're cheering for the other team because it's really exciting. And of course, the kids are excited because they're in it the whole way through. And I know a number of teams have run a number of clubs have run similar things, whether it be with flag or other events. But again, that's that participation and, not having to be blown out 6-6. And being always in it in a short period of time is really exciting for the young people. Now, with the 12-man coordination, it's just a brief event on this, is that the 12-man coordinator is MFL and the VCFL presidents. They're the ones that coordinate it, because being playing down here, they deal with all the issues there. So ultimately, there is no single person, because they both have a vote on the board as the presidents. So it'll have just been a duplication of that point as well, and that's usually covered off in the championship run, etc. So if there is concerns, then we always direct it to the two presidents, who will deal with everything, because they set up that entire event, which since I've come on board, it's been fantastic. The flag coordinator, his report is in here. I've already done 12 men. The flag coordinator was Doug Pauls, and now for the BCCFA, again, because of the coordination aspect, Kayla will be doing that part of the coordination. We do have other people involved. Kevin is our field coordinator at that point in time. We've got people that are involved with all of the other things, and of course, I don't necessarily know exactly which of the jobs all of the people are doing it, but we're dealing with that as well. Currently, just to give you another idea, is that BCCFA is running a flag refereeing clinic. Getting more into the direction of the flag event, progress down the road. Flag. Once all the paperwork signed, that the flag winner division in the Flag Association for our champion in 2 age groups to participate at the Nationals once all the paperwork signed. And we have the funds to subsidize the teams in order to participate. If there's a girls team, they go and play at the national championship, then they qualify, and then they go on and win that event. The world championship for this year is in Jamaica. Okay. All the coaching has been filled because it's lining up behind me. No, actually, I would love to go to Jamaica, but I don't think I'd look good in a thong. I don't know. And there'll be more for me to eat. Okay, now, first, I've got to talk about Doug Pauls, because Doug Pauls, and I'll give you this anecdote, at the very first flag event that we had, Doug said, I think we can do this better. I said, great, you're the organizer. I said, you can do that job. And he goes, well, what do you mean? I said, no, you're my guy. I said, you told me how to do it. I said, why would I become a middleman and you're just going to tell me what to do anyway? Why don't you just go over? So he did it for 8 years. And it was great. And we put a plaque together for Doug for all his services here, and he did a fantastic job. He was
tremendous in everything he did in every aspect of it. And again, as the tournament got bigger and bigger and bigger, of course, we had to keep bringing more and more people involved into getting that. And again, we'll be looking for a lot of support people with that. And as that tournament grows, and we're hoping, because I did ask the presidents if they wanted to cap it at 32 teams per division. The president said the important thing is that everybody gets to go, because not every kid gets to participate in an event like that, and I'm on board with that. And as a result, we're hoping for 2,000 kids and 200 teams, and that would be an impact statement. Last year, we had, as I said, we had 1,558 kids, and we had over 4,000 people bought, well, basically everything where flag is, were to him. Now that the people that are taking over, again, the bar's been set high. And I know that we will all pitch in to help them to maintain the level. So his report's there. He's thanked numbers of individuals in here for the process. He's listed off their champions. And again, I'd like to thank Doug. I will be meeting him to give him his small token of appreciation from the entire community of flag football. Thank you. That's his report.
Hold the mic and talk.
I just wanted to introduce somebody who'll be helping with the championship team registration. It's Shelley Fry. Wave, Shelley. Wave to everybody. So she's going to be helping with that, just doing the rosters and the championship teams. And of course, I will help because she speaks esports desk. So we'll do it together. It'll be fun. And that's it. Welcome, Shelley.
That's the mic.
The Zone Bowl coordinator.
All right, guys. Thanks for the Zone Bowl. It's a big experience this year to try to put on something that's never really been done here. Stand up. Okay. It's been great to be able to be part of the BCCFA, to put on a Zone Bowl. Like I say, it hasn't been done in a long time here, and it's one of those things where we're able now to take 5 zones. And put a bunch of kids together and bring them all together on a long weekend, 4th of July long weekend. First. Okay, I'm American, okay? It's the 4th of July. But again, it's great. It seemed to come together. I've been around to the island and certain other places and watched these guys put together these camps and watch all the coaches. The biggest thing that I'm finding that it's bringing all the groups together. It's bringing high school coaches together. It's bringing community coaches together. So everybody is just like gelling together, hearing all the coaches out there laughing and joking and talking and, having guys, actually we have UBC coaches that are part of the island over that's going to be coaching midget. So it's just a whole group of guys all getting together that wouldn't get together and be able to communicate and talk. And now it's all us becoming a whole family and having everybody talk along with the kids. When you got a bunch of kids that just play high school, kids that just play community, now they're able to all play together and they're able to actually talk to each other. They actually are being able to be friends, so when they're out there playing, it's just a great feeling. And, I'm glad to be part of it. I'm glad that the BCCFA has allowed me to do this so that these kids opportunity to go play. And like I say, for the first year, it is a big jump. We're going to have some little breakdowns and this and that, certain groups. But I've really seen that coming next year and a year down the road, it's going to be huge for us. We actually are going to move it to spring break next year, so it will be in spring break, not in July. So there's just a lot of stepping. But like I say, for the first year, getting this off, it's going to be a great success. With the amount of kids coming out, we're looking at least over 500 kids based on the roster. So it will be kids out there having internet broadcasts where the kids can actually tell their parents that can't make it to the games to be able to watch it. We've got some good sponsors come on. The BC Lions are going to sponsor this whole thing where the kids will have the BC Lions logo on all the jerseys now. So that's been accepted now through the Lions. There's another sponsor that's probably going to come on board. We're just waiting on feedback with those guys moving forward. with this. We got some guys that are coming in town from Atlanta, Georgia, and everything. They're going to come in town. Gatorade, that could be a big sponsor down the road for us. So it's just great to be able to put this on. It's great to be able to recognize BC for doing this. So thank you guys. Oh, yes, and registration for the guys for the Zone Bowl, it will be going up next week, probably by Tuesday. I'm going to say Tuesday, or well, we'll say Monday, but we'll give it a time of break. But we'll allow all the kids to go on and register through the BCCFA. So you'll go to the website there. All the kids will register that has been chosen to play in the Zone Bowl. And once they do all that stuff, it'll go. Now, it shows in my report, too, if a kid played high school, he's going to be end up paying an extra $10 because that covers his insurance. The kids that are on community, it's in their fees. And plus, a lot of kids that are playing flag already and part of the groups are signing up are going to pay the membership fees and all that stuff that goes with it. So.
Yeah, so if you can encourage your kids to play spring tackle or spring flag to register as soon as possible, just so that's covered. And you don't want
Okay, what I'd like to do at this point in time is, before we go to the treasurer's report, I'd like you to be able to get a drink, and there's a sandwich over there, and there's a few things. We'll take, it's 1 o'clock, so 1:15, we should be able to get back and quickly go through that, and hopefully, and I know I'm going to jinx this as soon as I say it, that if we're lucky, we could be out of here by 2. Because, well, as I told Kayla, I was getting back to pick her up. I said, "Oh, I'll be there in 5 minutes." I hit every red light. Okay, please help yourself. outside of the important part of the meeting, which I always think is my little speech at the beginning, is now it's the really most important part, and Donna is going to go through the Treasury report, which is there for you. And of course, some people that have been around a while know that if you ask me numbers, hey, I've had a few years where it was really tough.
Thanks, Joe. So I took over the treasurer position in December. So this is last year's report. So getting information from Ed, the past treasurer, and summarizing it all. So basically, I'll just kind of go over it in general, and if anyone has any questions, then feel free to jump in. So we had an overall, sorry.
And after this report, there will be a motion to accept this. Okay, so that we will go through the process on the voting procedure.
So revenue, we had a general revenue or overall revenue of $96,647.39, and the breakdown of the different programs where the revenue came from is listed there. Expenses, $103,051.30, and again where the breakdown was, where those expenses went to. For overall operating budget of negative $6,403.91 for the year. In terms of actual cash in the bank, we started the year with $66,015.88, split between our general checking account and our gaming account. And at the end of 2015, we were at $68,118 with a few uncashed checks that hadn't come through, for an overall balance sheet of $64,853. On top of that, there was $7,000 still owed to us from various associations for past fees of $7,004. So overall balance sheet at the end of the year was $71,857.40. I guess I'll open up to questions if there's any questions on where things are. Yes?
Do you have any outstanding liabilities?
At the end of the year, I didn't have a good handle on that. I don't believe there are, but a few things have come up in January, February, just the outstanding invoices that had slipped through the cracks that we were cleaning up. They're all very small stuff. So in 2016, I'll have a better accounting of that for the report.
And just as a comment, with the online registration, although that gives us a much better handle on a variety of things as well, especially for our insurance policy and things like that as well.
Any other questions?
Can we have a motion? Seconder?
Okay, so now we'll.
Excuse me?
Oh, go ahead.
Discussion? Questions? All in favor? Opposed? Oh, you were just slow on your head. I thought there was abstentions? Unanimous.
Okay, so now we'll go on to the next part, which is the budget for this year. So on page 46 is the overall 2016 budget, and then the following pages are the budgets broken down by program. So the big thing to point out for 2016 compared to 2015 is revenue. We're looking at a budget of $405,500 compared to a revenue of $96,647. So we're quadrupling our operating budget, primarily because insurance, new PSO fees, coaching certification. That's the big reason why those have gone up. And the Zone Bowl. That's another big program that we've taken on that we never had in previous years. So that's a big reason why you'll see such a quadruple the number. Same thing when you go down to expenses, you'll see the same kind of ratio. Overall, from an operating point of view, we're looking to have a positive cash flow. Will be $37,600 in the positive, where last year we were a bit on the negative. So what I was hoping to do was go through each program budget, just in brief, and if anyone has questions, then we can discuss them, and then we can have a motion to accept the budget. So the first budget is the Zone Bowl. So this is, we have revenue of $104,000, which is $165 a player. I can't remember how many players we had budgeted. 640. And then the expenses for the Zone Bowl. So basically, we have an overall Zone Bowl budget of just a slight negative on that. The next page, we've got basically our general 2016 budget, which is just for general things that aren't associated with a specific program. This is where we bring in like BC Lions 50/50 money, general BCCFA fees, Orange Helmet revenue that we get, plus the expenses associated with that, expenses associated with our regular meetings, with the AGM, eSports desk fees. That's all accounted for there. Flag championships on page 49.
Sorry, John.
Yes. Yep.
Did you not BC Lions running in 2015? That's not recorded on the 2015 general budget report.
Yeah, BC Lions 50/50 revenue. First line. 30.
Okay, so then what's the bottom of BC Lions 50/50?
So what it is from an accounting point of view, we want to the revenue comes into general, but then we're going to transfer it to some of our other programs because flag isn't. We don't generate enough revenue on its own for it to stand on its own. So we bring in some 50/50 money for that. So that's just an accounting thing. Yes. Yeah. And then you'll see it coming in like so. The next one's the flag. You'll see a transfer from general money there. So in the flag program, basically we've got our flag fees, our flag revenue and expenses. The one big difference there is we're not the jerseys aren't through there this year as they were last year. Next budget item is coaching education. So this is a new one, and this is a general budget. We are still working out the details of how all that's going to work. But basically, we brought in, of the $30 fees, BCCFA fees, there's $10 of that is coaching certification. So that's what you'll see the revenue, $66,150. And then how we are hoping how the expenses for that will come out. Again, it's a guesstimate at this point because we're just working out the details on that. Page 51, 9-man championships, revenue and expenses, and then on page 52 is the 12-man championships. Are there any questions on the proposed budget? Yes.
On the Zone Bowl.
Yeah.
Just taking it, that's jerseys, because most of the kids have their own.
Jerseys.
Is that $42,000 in jerseys?
Jerseys.
That's only 15 teams.
Yeah.
30 kids a team.
40 players, 40 jerseys. So
And there's coaches, T-shirts, and that.
coaches, and volunteers.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? All right.
Do we have a motion any discussion? Again, last time I'll call.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the budget. And again, a lot of the things that we've seen in the budget is this is sort of unique for us in many aspects. But as I always remind people, I said sometimes when I took over, we were $3,000 in debt and had no options. Now we're in a position we do have revenues. I just wanted to point out is that when a couple of the groups did run into difficulty, and we did have one in the championship, we were able to subsidize them a little bit because they had to get an accommodation that was because the ferry had closed down. So we're looking at making more things available for extenuating
circumstances for our members to try and help them out. So, yes, we do have money in the bank, but I always think it's important because we don't for us and how these are going to play out. And I do know that 50-50 money was down this year in compared to Grey Cup year. And as a result, we look at that evolution of other funding resources as well. Okay?
So one of the concerns that I had with, as the new, taking on all this new programs was concerns with cash flow. One of the issues came up with insurance. We brought on a new insurance. We basically had to pay up front for that or pay in a few payments. Was concerned from our cash flow situation that we were going to actually go in the negative, but we're not. Everything's positive. Watching all these new programs very carefully just to make sure nothing gets out of hand because it is a lot more that we're taking on than in previous years. But from a forecasting point of view, everything looks very good at this point.
Okay, thank you. Question, sorry. Seconder. Trace. Okay, question.
So we've collected $5 out of the $30 is towards the new provincial sports organization, with the intent that that would be going towards Football Canada. Yeah.
No.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry. No, I'm wrong.
No, we haven't allocated funds for Football Canada because we don't know what the funds are going to be at this point in time. We're in the process of negotiating with them because we, as BC Community Football, said that we understand what these fees are here, okay, and so how is that going to impact us? So ultimately, with regards to that whole big picture with coaching and certification, we're working out those details because we're trying to, as I've explained to a couple of individuals that are going to be helping with this, is that we want to be more efficient with the spending of money. Previously, we've been held for ransom in the fact that I've asked for bigger coaching clinics so we service more people in one venue, which is cheaper for us. The other group wanted smaller clinics and multiple smaller clinics because it was more beneficial for them. Because, for example, if you have 100 guys in one room and you're charging $70 an hour, which is the rate, and it takes you 5 hours, well, you make $350. But if you have 10 venues of 5 guys each, you're making 10 times the amount of money. So ultimately, our membership was being, I think, for lack of a better term, financially abused because of the smaller clinics versus bigger ones, and that's why we've collected the money so that we can make sure that we're spending money more wisely. How it all comes out with Football Canada, I think we'll have a little bit more information about that a little bit later on what the fees are going to be, but as I said right now, they haven't said much about that, or how much money we owe.
We're not paying any of the previous fees.
At this point in time, 100% no, but if we can strike a deal that with Football Canada and saying, we'll give you 20 cents on the dollar, ultimately for the benefit of our members, then the board will have to entertain that and then present it to all the presidents to see if that's, a good use of our money. So ultimately, it'll be a board decision going back to you.
But then in this budget, there's no money that's kind of set aside just in case this comes through. It will be in a football.
Actually, to answer that question, Rob, we will not have to pay Football Canada any money, okay? The only money that we will have to pay Football Canada is when we're talking about coach certification right now. The outstanding money that you individuals and your clubs have paid Football BC already for the coach certification, those certifications are sitting there in a box. And those certifications, to get those released, somebody has to pay it to Football Canada. So that's the only thing that we will come back to. That's why when you go to high school football hasn't paid Football BC because they're waiting on the same thing. All their coaches that have paid their money, they're going to deduct their fees and then pay Football Canada that money that you've already paid and then release that money to them. So we won't pay for anything that Football BC owes Football Canada. Only thing we're going to end up paying for probably in advance is money for what your coaches and your already paid for to get them released so that they can be certified. Because if they're not certified, they can't coach, right? So that's going to be the biggest thing. Once I get this list, and Jerry, just so you know, when we mentioned Jerry, I guess we're going to discuss this later on, but Jerry, that's in the corner, Jerry, you want to put your hand up? Jerry will be our coaches coordinator. He has all the levels that you can possibly imagine. Level 4 guy. So Jerry's going to be working with me, organizing all the coaches certifications and all that stuff. But like I say, at the end of the day, that's what we're going to end up paying for down the road.
Now, because all the coaches have taken the education component in BC, we're saying they are accredited. Ultimately, Football Canada has to give that, but we can accredit coaching because they are coaches because they've done the courses. It's not like they haven't done them. And as a result of that, we are satisfied that they've met the requirements as we've recommended to all of our members for education.
Does that answer?
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing too is we do have a budget item for coaching education. And like I said, we haven't worked out the details. Some of those details will be what we just discussed. Yeah, page 50, we've got a revenue of $66,150 for coaching education. That's $10 of the 30 that we're collecting as our BCCFA fees. And so we can be, as a President's Council, we can decide how the best to use that if some of it is to clean this up.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to bill Football BC, which we're probably never going to get the money, but we're going to have to bill them still for everything that everybody else has already paid.
Once that's squared up, once that's all taken care of, then going forward, through the education plan, we will be covered for anything that we do.
Yeah, based on again, where you were talking about when you say, what do we pay Football Canada? What's going to happen is with Football Canada, it will be $11 that every member will pay to be part of Football Canada. And that will take care of everything. And that, everybody will go online themselves. You won't give that money, like Football BC was supposed to be taking the money and giving it Football Canada. Now that won't happen. Now everybody will go to Football Canada's website out of BC and sign up, pay their $11 online. You will get a certification number saying that you're a member of Football Canada. And then that's what we don't have to worry about the news association or whatever for Football Canada to turn around and say, well, you're not in good standards because all the members and all the kids are going to be paying it automatically. So that makes it easier for how we want to move forward.
Okay, so we've had a motion, we've had a seconder. Any more discussion, questions? Call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Abstentions? Unanimous.
Okay. At this point in time, we'd like to, Lisa, to cover quickly the working rule changes briefly.
So I printed off 30 copies. If it wasn't enough, sorry. They'll be posted online within, I'm going to give Kayla a deadline, within a week. The current BCCFA rule book that was posted on the website was from 2011. I went through every single AGM book, which contains all the minutes from the BCCFA meetings, and basically rehashed this entire book. So it incorporated everything that we have already agreed upon. The big thing to note is I did highlight my copy in yellow. Sorry, your photocopies didn't all come out with highlights, so I'll just run through it really quick. The very first statement on the first page is new, brand new. Going through the ball sizes, I made it a more comprehensive list based on our sponsorship of the year. Previously, we were under Wilson balls, then we're under Spalding, then this is sizes. What this list is for is sizes based on our current sponsor.
Spalding's changed the name.
Joe?
I don't know why.
Apparently, there will be another upcoming update. Okay. Number 3, in section 1, the ball is also new, and that's based on sponsorship as well. Section 2, the game. Number 2, if a team is behind by 30 points or more, that used to read 18, kind of low, and quite frankly, you can come back from 18 real easy. 30, a little more tricky, so we upped it. Number 3 in section 2, the last sentence after mercy rule. If at any time during the first half the point spread is less than 30 points, the clock will revert back to stop time. Again, makes it a little easier and gives the kids a little more hope in getting back in the game. This is about the kids. Number 4, Adam's specialty for point afters. That was in several of the zone books. We put it in this book because this is the book that you follow for the championships. That way there's no argument, no issues. Section 3, the field, just specifying field sizes. If you notice, the 9-man field's pretty fun. We had a long discussion on that. The Canadian Amateur Tackle Rulebook has specifications. None of our fields follow that specification. There are no Canadian 9-man fields in the province at all. Most of us play on American size fields, which is still not the Canadian fields, which is why it's 100 up to 110 and 55, 50 up to 55. It gives us a little more leeway. Try and keep it consistent though, please. Section 4, number 7, used to just say no stick-em-like substances. Sadly enough, we had to add in on hands, jerseys, or gloves. Number 8, the numbering, all teams, Pee-wee included. The only things excluded from numbering system is Adam. Thanks, Jeff. Anytime. Currently in our rulebook, until otherwise noted, if it comes out in the Canadian Amateur, you can declare if you're in a non-eligible jersey, but they have to declare. Under players, number 4, all players must be registered online. It is the only way they are insured. All players must be registered online. Then it goes into the roster stuff. If you remember way back when, we used to do these fancy handwritten rosters, block printed, spaced properly, numbered, blah, 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 blah. Hey, look, eSports Desk. Click, click, print. Good enough. Thank you. And the next changes under Game Commissioner, Section 8, Number 1. We recommend you give your game commissioners a checklist. Unfortunately, there are a lot of game commissioners out there that still don't know what their job is.
And the premise behind that, again, was that having gone around to quite a variety of communities to watch, and each game commissioner, there's a lot of, course, members there, volunteers, etc., and they're going, okay, I got to do this job, but what is it you really want them to do? And when you ask them, they go, well, nobody told me anything.
My response has always been read the rule book.
Right. And the issue comes about, and I will mention this, is that it's for the protection of the game commissioner if there's a dispute. Okay? If there's a 15-yard penalty, or if there's this, what am I supposed to do? If the game stopped because of this, just a little bullet saying, hey, do this, do this, do this. I checked it off. Was there any penalties? No. Did I do this? No. Did I do this? No. Here's my game commissioner report. We're all good. And then it becomes really consistent. Other than that, as I said, as I've talked to quite a variety of people, they really don't know what their job really is supposed to be. And most of the time it's nothing. But if there is something, what is it? Okay? Just to help them out.
Section 8, again, under Commissioner number 4, we added in possibly an exception to the 15-minute forfeit due to buses and ferries. We have had that issue in the past, especially at the 12-man championships. The next one, Section 10, number 3, as far as objectionable conduct from the benches. Sadly, again, we needed to put something in there. It's not just the kids. Hey, adults. Make sure everybody's fully aware of that. 12, under grievance procedure. If you have a grievance now, your $200 check is non-refundable. It used to be if you won, you got your money back. If you didn't win, you forfeited your money. It is now non-refundable. So you better make sure that if you're filing a grievance, that you're willing to part with that. Number 4, executive, as we have people on that are not presidents, that are actually just executive members. They can be on the grievance committee as well. Section 13, pretty much the whole thing's been reworked and reworded based on, we now have 9-man championships and the format is different. Yeah.
The in-play,
Mm-hmm.
that's regardless of roster size.
Regardless of roster size.
The VMSL one said for roster 25 and above it.
Season play, follow your zone. Playoffs, this book. I had an Adam team of 31 kids. I got 10 plays in my playoffs. So pretty much anybody can do it if I can. So 10 play rule, injuries of course are exempt. Monitors. Number 6, under that section, it's actually in our Constitution, but I felt the need to put it in the rule book because, well, everybody should read the rule book, but not everybody. I didn't. Now you do. It's in the rule book, not just the Constitution. Number 14, overtime during playoff games. The bullets 3A, B, and C. The same as it was before, it's just a wording. That was just the way it was worded I changed to make it hopefully a little more clear, not like mud. And then Section 15, your coaching certification number 2. All BCCFA coaches must have safe conduct, be aware of concussion protocol, and have completed coaching ethics. If they do not have those 3 things, they cannot be on a BCCFA field. No exceptions. Number 3.
Okay, the issue is that the BCCFA does not control league play. We can't do that by the Constitution. We are due the championships, so all our information goes directly to the championships. If your league has dictated X, Y, or Z, that's the league, and then you follow the league issue. Because this is the BCCFA thing, what happens is in our championship, these things must be met.
But BCCFA runs the flag championship.
Yeah.
We don't run the league, though.
No. So at the BCCFA Provincial Championships in June.
If the championship is June, then you have to have completed that, etc.
But the spring flag coaches don't all coach full tackle, so why would they do safe tackling?
Just the same as the government asks you, the issue is that the things that are here is you have to be aware of coaching protocol. You should have dealing with safe contact. Is that the issue is just like the government requires all people to deal with kids to be screened. We're saying that these are some minimum requirements that we recommend that you have in order to facilitate moving forward. And the concept is that, as it was explained to me, is that if something happens, it goes to the next level, the insurance or the do this. Yes or no? Did you do coaching ethics? Yes or no? No. You lose, they win. That's the process. What it was that. So when this has been the issue from the BCCFA is that we're following in line with what every other association has put down as part of their process as well. Plus, we're out there and saying these things, saying with concussion, you can go online and it's relatively quick, etc. That was for tackle. Yeah. We may have to adjust that and say tackle versus, oh, of course, I misunderstood you, sorry. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Be aware of concussion protocol. We have 42 different levels of awareness. Protocol standard.
So the reason that it's worded this way is because right now on the Football BC website, there is a concussion protocol course. Depending on what happens with Football BC, I mean, at this point, am I saying I'm referring you all to the Football BC website? Not necessarily, but until I find it somewhere else and a better name for it. Is it on Football Canada now? Okay. Perfect. Perfect. I can actually change concussion protocol to the Making Headway in Sport. If it is on Football Canada now.
There's actually two, the Making Headway in football and Making Headway in sport.
Yeah.
So
Either one.
Okay, so just to be clear, the concussion protocol is on the Football Canada website?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Coach Sartier?
I wasn't sure if it was there yet or not.
okay, with the issue that we're having with Football BC, we put people through these training modules. It went into their coach.ca, you go into their locker now and it's empty.
Right, and that's because of the funding issue. What we will be looking for, what Corey is looking for, so each of the presidents are going to approach their leagues. We need a comprehensive list from each city as to who took what, and preferably the date that it was taken. Like I know in Kamloops, I put these eight coaches through Safe Contact on this day. They don't have their certification yet because of the funding issue, but we've accredited them. Even though they're not certified, they're accredited.
So that, the last two summers.
So those coaches and stuff that say, there's a number of coaches, they're supposed to just, stand pat, like, they're gonna be okay?
They're fine.
Or do we have to,
Yeah.
they're fine?
They're fine.
As long as you provide me with that list, and then when I get my list, and I compare that list with that, then you're good. If your guys are not on that list, then they won't be on that field.
So as long as you...
That's what I'm saying, it's like.
Okay, no. What Corey's saying, and I understand this, is that people that are taking courses, you as an organization, a club, whatever it is, you know the people in your group that have been to the courses and have been educated, correct? Okay, you're going to send us a list so we can see who is qualified with Football Canada and not. But that doesn't negate the fact that they've taken the courses and have done the works. We're not here trying to say, oh no, all those guys are no good. You have to redo everything. That's not our job. Our job is to say, okay, they're fine. They've done the course. They're fine. You and your organization and club are saying, hey, look, all these guys have done this. Here's our sheet. We're happy with that because it's true. What we're trying to do is then take that list, go to the next level, and see how many people that we don't need to worry about as far as Football Canada is concerned, and then just deal with the number of football for that.
Number, name, and the date that they took what courses.
Correct.
Okay.
And if they don't have an NCCP number, don't worry about it, but we need the date and when they took the course because they may not be in that box of stuff.
All right, so I guess I check about that. I say we gotta take these courses, so I've taken them already. How do I check that?
At this point, you can't. You have to record his name. You've got to know the dates that he took the course.
Okay, so I gotta says this, I believe him, he says he did, no problem. He goes to coaches, what's the ramifications?
You believe it's true,
Right.
okay? He's told you it's true.
Right.
Last time I checked, I'm going to date myself on this. You're not Jimmy Rockford. You're not going to go PI it. So the result is that you believed it's true. He said it was true. We have no way to check at this point in time. Once we've got all the I's dotted and T's crossed, then now we have the information that we'll be able to do that. Up till that point in time, there's nothing that's wrong, and that's why we buy insurance, to protect us, because he told us it was true. We don't have a way of doing this. We believed him. He demonstrated it was true. We're done. We're good.
I'm not sure if our insurance is going to cover this. They call it transcripts.
Yeah?
And so I have the coach's certification numbers. You log on to coaches.ca, look at all the transcripts. All you need is their CC number and their last name, and I've verified almost 4 minutes of our.
That is correct. That is correct. As long as you have those numbers, and when you send me that list, yes.
Yeah. I understand that, but what happens is that Football Canada has a pile.
That are not entered.
They're not entered, therefore they have no numbers. So they're in limbo. That's the problem that we have with those people. Okay.
My concern here is I don't want 18 crying Adams because they're just going to disqualify the playoffs because the coach is a liar, right? Yeah.
Right. And Matt, you're absolutely right about that. And as an insurance that we deal with, I'm not sure that they're going to cover that too, because it says in our insurance that all our coaches and everybody has to have. Yeah.
I'm sure that we'd be able to work out a positive result for young people versus a coach that misinforms.
What would happen if the coach approaches the president? What happens if there's an injury? Insurance is not going to be muddy water. Is it going to cause issues?
As far as I understand how it was played out and explained to me, because we have to accept things on trust and faith, is that isn't ruled against ability, the information 3 months. We need to do that. So when you're dealing with volunteers that give us the truthful information, court people, all the insurers, they're not going to hold us to blame because they understand our problems.
Balances in place for those that prove what somebody knows, right? So I'm told, you've given me dates, I'm not able to coordinate it at this time because, you know.
Lisa, are we done? Okay. That's it. We're done.
You keep it. So section 15, number 3, I added in first aid and or for the medical personnel. It used to say medical personnel. You had to be a doctor, nurse, first responder, if everybody remembers that wonderful list that was there. Give me a break. Take first aid, because as on a football field, we are not doctors. We are first aiders. Our job is to say, hey, there is something wrong with you. Prep for transport, go to a doctor. That's your job. Your job is not to diagnose. So I changed it. Number 4, all medical trainers must know current concussion protocol. Again, I'll work on the wording on that for you guys and be able to explain it. In conversations with 3 different emergency rooms around the province, I have been told in no uncertain times by emergency doctors that as having taken a concussion protocol course, which I have myself, I know more about concussions than a lot of doctors do. I know about the treatment of concussions a lot more than doctors do. If you go through and you know your protocols, you are the person on the field. Doctors like to say you have a concussion, and we've all seen it. Everybody in this room has seen it. 3 days later, a kid shows up on the field with a note saying he's allowed to play football. So that got changed.
Motion to accept the changes to the BCCFA rule book. With the amendments on concussion protocol. Seconder?
Over here on the side. Mr. Mocha? Yes.
Okay. Any more questions, discussion? Yes.
We had to put the 30. Parents, right?
I agree.
And if you, what you should be doing when you're up, then you start working on another part of your game. That's horrible. Okay? Because having been a college coach and seen some of the kids that come through our, through the community and stuff, and I'm wondering, why don't you know how to do this? Because they never had to. Use your head. Get your coaches to explore different avenues of scoring, passing, offense, defense. Well, wait, push football, and we love the game. Let's just not get stuck and play it off and feel good win all the time. All right? Kids like to learn.
Okay.
Some different things.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comments. Unless it's directly into this, I'm going to pull every other statement or comment out of order. The reason for it, we're speaking right to this. If there's any more comment directly related to this, if not, I will call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? Carried. And just as a comment, yes, we hear about it all the time, and it's important that we understand that because it's a game for young kids, last time, you're right, I've never seen a U10 or U12 get drafted to the NFL, nor have I ever seen a coach that went 10-0 at the Pee Wee level ever get a CFL job because they were a great offensive coordinator. Yes, okay, now, basically, we've got to number 13, which is online. Just to give you a statement about that. Sorry. Yeah, I apologize. I'm going to take the hit. It's my target, okay? The BCCFA state. You want that? Are you? No. Okay. Under this, we've got several things that we want to talk about. First is the PSO and the Football Canada issue.
All right, so as we move forward, you've heard the name come up. Frank Naso, which is over in the corner there, has been helping me move along with trying to get this new PSO set up and moving forward. We were hoping to have a big news today, but the thing is right now, like anything, when you deal with politicians, and I'm finding out how politicians work now, that they take their slow time doing a lot of stuff and covering their bases. So I have a confidential letter that I can't present right now, but we have been accepted by Football Canada. So that part we have been accepted by Football Canada.
Corey, can you specify who we is? Because you're not speaking for BCCFA right now.
Okay, the BCPFA, which is British Columbia Football Association, Provincial Football Association, has been registered with the government. We are a society, nonprofit society. So all that stuff has been put through. Football Canada has accepted it. We are waiting on Sport BC. Sport BC has, we've been back and forth with emails and everything. Things are going pretty good with them. Now with them, they are waiting for VO Sports, which VO Sports is right now we're just waiting for VO Sports. We got an application in that we put in a month ago with VO Sports. They finally just got back to us on Friday because they want 5 or 7 more things that they want us to put in. So it is coming. Trust me, it's coming. It is going to happen. I know it's the timing, and we're trying to get it all done, but it is happening. It will be done. But for as in you guys, insurance you have. Right now, your coach's certification, we can start that right away. So right now, the cost right now, because of Football Canada is just waiting on Sport BC to send a letter, and the letter could go out tomorrow on Monday. It could go out on Tuesday. So I will notify you guys right away as soon as that's done. But we can go ahead now and do everything that we're supposed to do, because really with Football Canada, it's just about all the kids going to go play in the nationals. You know, flag nationals, Canada Cup. That's the only thing with Football Canada. We're all going to be accepted to go, and that's everyone that is up under the new association that will be part of that. Hopefully high school will come on board, but if they don't, none of those kids will be able to go play in the nationals. So that's just the way that will go. I guess any question, like I say, if coaches certification, we're going to move forward with that. Jerry, like I mentioned, Jerry over there, we will start right away. Like I said, as soon as we get from all you presidents, how many of your guys need safe contact, ethics, and concussion? 15 or more is where we're going to show up to. And we will make the dates for you guys. You guys just got to let us know how many of your coaches need it, and we can move forward on that. Any other questions? Or
Just one other thing is that every association can apply for funding for Kids Sport, Head Start programs. They're not going to.
You're still going to get that.
You're still going to get that. So there's no roadblock or no hurdle or no stopping of that process that still goes on. So that's there.
Yeah.
And as Corey explained, and the way it is that with Sport BC, it's the first time they're doing this. They haven't had to deal with this before. So they verbally have said yes. But they go, every time another question comes up, and it's slowing down the process. And we would hope it would be done for today, saying that we can. But right now we have a letter from Football Canada that says we're good. We have a verbal commitment from Sport BC that says we're good. But like the VMFL last week, that Balder said, you got to wait for the paper to be signed before you can make the big announcement.
And they have to cover their bases. I'm starting to learn that, even though every day that I'm on the phone with them and emailing and everything, I'm putting pressure on them, just like you guys want to know, you want answers. They it's always jumping through the loops and jumping through the hoops. So just bear with me. I will have it. I'm hoping to have an answer for you really, really fast this week.
Sport BC, did you say VIA?
VIA Sports. VIA, yeah.
They're over here.
Yeah, They're the financial guys that supply all the money for Sport BC.
And just because I know this is important is that VIA's in a bit of a bind now because they gave the Football BC money, and they're in a quandary. How do they save face by giving an organization which has no members money because they made an application, and even though they were told ahead of time, don't do this. So that becomes a little bit of the stickler that's in there, and of course they all look at CYA, and that goes on. But everything else is positive under the update as well. I did mention that we will be looking at a new constitutional change The protocol is if you're looking for information that needs to go into the BCCFA, remember that it has to come to the board a minimum of 14 days in advance before the AGM. So unfortunately, things will go there. The presidents, we meet every month. We have a phone call meeting. And as a result of that, we expect the system to work. So if you're at a club level and you want something done, you talk to your president, they talk to them, and then the system comes to the board level so that we can deal with it in the most broadest fashion, because the BCCFA is trying to protect all its members. We understand the individuality in it, but that's the process that we're there. Outside of that, those are the big issues that are facing us right now as we go forward.
Yes, I had a question about high school football may choose to join the ESL. Well, what options do they have if they don't, and they're going to be on their own? What about certification and all that?
They pretty much would be on their own. Just means that none of their coaches will be able to go anywhere out of the province and coach. None of the kids will be able to go anywhere without that certification. So they would eventually have to come up under the umbrella if that's the way they want to go that route, and if any of the kids want to go. I'm pretty sure that parents, we all as parents that still have kids playing, we want to see our kids play in the Canada Cup, and I'm pretty sure that parents will step up and say, you know what, how do we get our kids moving that way? So I think the parents will have the more influence on how the high schools are going to work, not just their board. So, yeah, Chris. BCPFA, so BC Provincial Football Association. They will be the government body of British Columbia, yes. Yeah. Yes. That's correct.
And just to let you know, because the other information is that right now they've been contacted, and the joining factor of not only is BCCFA going to join, as junior football will be joining BCFC. UBC has indicated that they are going to join. The men's flag and leagues have indicated they'd come back, as well as the Referees Association. So it was just a restructuring of that entire group and being a little bit broader.
And we're also working with the ladies flag team, because I'd come to find out through Football Canada, our ladies right now are #1 in the world for flag football. So that is going to be huge coming down the road, getting women back in the flag out here in British Columbia to play in the Nationals. So, any other questions?
Okay, the constitutional changes. That would be, that'll basically just be the government sending down the new Societies Act that we're going to all have to follow. I don't believe it's from what I've been told by various politicians, is there's going to give a template for everybody to use. It's not going to be about reinventing the wheel because we all do it. We'll just have to make sure that we modify each of the individual groups, and then what happens is that you'll have to ratify it. It's going to be in 2017. So my statement is that because we're already into the third month now, that people will have to start looking at all of this stuff to get groups to be able to do that. Not if you're going to be longer than 30 seconds.
So our constitution at the BCCFA does need to change, because right now it does reference Football BC. Basically what we're saying is at this point we are not going to submit that change. The legislation coming down will affect all levels of sport in BC and every nonprofit society. You will all have to redo your constitutions starting January 2017, to be completed by November 2017, or your club will no longer exist in the government. So be aware of that. It must be done by November 2017 at the absolute latest. The regulations will be coming out. Hopefully a complete compiled list will be made available to the public in August or September of this year.
Okay, thank you. Number 13, the online registration, and again, we sat down, there was only one group that wasn't doing online registration already, so ultimately the board felt that it was our best move to make this a blanket statement, which is here, and it became mandatory at that point in time. Number 14, the championship dates, again, they're set at that point in time. It's Sunday, December 4th, and Saturday, November 18th, depending on, as Lisa already outlined, the direction that we go with the nine-man championship because of numbers. The flag championships, again, all your smiling suntan faces on June 4th and 5th, because the volunteer list is just getting put out and help us run a championship. Obviously, game times will be announced. This we are going to be working on electronic information for the flag championship. Bring your phones, make sure they're charged, okay, because not only will we have hard copies, etc., but everybody should be able to access it on their phone, and Don and Kayla have been working tremendously hard to make sure that happens. Player eligibility. Again, it's a member in good standing and proof of primary insurance. The issue is that the member in good standing we've gone through several times, and that means that they have turned in their equipment, they paid their fees. Okay, that's the bottom line. And proof of primary insurance is obviously fairly simple as there. Club eligibility, member in good standing, all fees paid, including membership to BCCFA online. And again, as you know, that's the fundamental issue with regards to being a BCCFA member. You are a member in good standing. Being on the board, you're a member in good standing. All of those things for the elected positions. When you look at your constitutions and everything, it's the membership in good standing. One thing I would like to ask you is that if in your association you have made any individual a lifetime member, then the BCCFA needs to know so that we can start that process. And again, because there are individuals like in previous issues, and Paul Sparrow made me a lifetime member with the BCCFA board because I was moving on and then became vice president, and the president resigned, so I thought it was a conspiracy. I'm president again. And that was a number of years ago. But what happens is you have to have a process of membership, who's a member, what a member is, lifetime members, and there may be people that have been awarded that in individual clubs so that they can hold office, they can hold positions, but nobody has that list. So in your process over the next little while, we would recommend that you do that. If you have made any lifetime members, please let the BCCFA know so that that is an issue for running for various positions within the BCCFA or other organizations. As we pointed out, you have to be a member in good standing. The only way for you to be a member is if you're an association, and then they have rules about how you be members. Okay. I am going to No, I think you need to talk about that. Sorry, Wayne.
Just in case you don't know, we had we asked. We got involved with Touchdown BC. BCCFA paid the Touchdown BC so that we could run our video online. It was something that Football BC had started the year before? Yeah. 2 years before. And then unfortunately they didn't pay him, so he was going to cancel the series. So we took up the reins on that, and we provided money for that. So, but what they need from all of you guys is video. So what you need to do on a weekly basis is send in all of your video so that they can have clips to run. That's so important to spread the community football word. If you want to expand your organization, if you want to get bigger and better, people have to know about you, and that's one way to do it. It's run all across BC on Shaw, and I think it's extremely important that every club do that. So if you have video, just send it in. It's extremely easy to do. Yes. Yes.
Going to say to who?
Okay, so basically the link the link was sent out. Sorry, I don't have it with me, but yeah, we'll send the link out again, and all you do is you just upload the video. It's extremely easy to do. So, and it's on the website. Yes, sorry. Yes.
The more information you send to them, they're going to put their package together because they want to highlight community football. And it's such a great marketing tool, for a variety of different areas.
And Wayne can testify to this because of the number of people that watch like the 12-man championship online or the 9-man championship online. It's a great marketing tool for each and every one of us to do that. And it's basically all you're doing is sending in your video of teams and coaches and kids.
I think the second part has to be to increase their viewership. We need to endorse that. We've all got social media. We need to be able to endorse that and link that up so that we can sell it even more and then get our video out even further.
Okay, thank you very much. Motion to adjourn. Doesn't need a seconder. Yeah. Oh, Tracy, you have a question?
No, I'm a second.
Okay, thank you. Now, we do need one favor, though. There were a number of tables that were brought from another room. If people could help us take them back. Otherwise, Kayla's going to get... Thank you. Thank you for coming out.